Hi, it's Benji on Benji 84.0 movie review time, 2017's live action Ghost in the Shell. Now you might be thinking, how's he got hundreds of subscribers when he doesn't have much content up? That's because this is a relaunch. This isn't the only content I've ever made. Right, so I am going to be briefly reviewing, as I said, 2017's live action version of Ghost in the Shell. Now, as always, I don't include clips in my reviews or any of my videos, and I will save my rating out of 10 until the end of this video. As I say, I'll keep it quite short. Right, 2017's Ghost in the Shell, the live action version, is a live action remake of 1995's anime Ghost in the Shell. It's also, and a lot of people don't realise this, I think, it's a remake as well of 2004's Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, which is also an anime. They're both directed by Mamoru Oshii. I'll come back to him. And both of those animes are based on the manga by Masamune Shirow. He created the manga, the comic books, and Mamoru Oshii wrote and directed the two animes, 1995's Ghost in the Shell and 2004's Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence. Now, this live-action remake actually incorporates a lot from both of those animes. There's a lot in there from the second one. The director, Rupert Sanders, and his writers, I'm looking for his writers here. Yeah, Jamie Moss and Erin Kruger, who are quite well-known writers, script writers. They actually have incorporated both of the animes. Quite a lot of effort's been put into that. Now, Rupert Sanders is an English director, and it sounds like he might be a bit of a playboy. Now, and this is open information, he directed 2012 Snow White and the Huntsman. That was a big hit. He also directed 2024's The Crow, which I actually watched at the cinema. Which was awful and a complete flop. And in the middle, he directed this in 2017. Now, this didn't do well. However, it was scuppered, and it didn't do well for the wrong reasons, because this is a good film, and I'll come into that. And when I say Rupert Sanders is a bit of a playboy, he was married to a model and had 2 children with her when he was directing Snow White and the Huntsman. Now, that starred, what is her name? Kristen Stewart from the Twilight movies, right? And he was caught during filming, or during 2012, so that period of time, kissing her in public, kissing and cuddling with her in public. He made an apology, so did she, and subsequently his wife divorced him. And to be honest with you, rightly so. How embarrassing for her. And look, if you know anything about me and my content, I certainly do not always leap to the defence of women. However, in this instance, yes, he's in the wrong. I judge each situation on its own merits. So now the reason this film didn't do well, here we go. Right, so this film cost $110 million to make, and it made $170 million. Now that's not good, because that's not factoring in promotion. And it was heavily promoted, this movie. It was heavily promoted, and also the cut that cinemas take. I'm not going to go into all of that. So it lost money. I read that it lost up to 100 million. That's a disaster. Somehow Rupert Sanders got to make The Crow, which was also a disaster and a terrible movie. This isn't terrible. As for Snow White and the Huntsman, don't like it. I'm not the target audience for that. I've listed his 3 movies, basically. That one was a hit, though. Now, I remember reading interviews, or an interview with Rupert Sanders at the time, and I know I've just made fun of him a bit. Hey, he brought that on himself by being a playboy. He's married, and he's got 2 kids with the woman he's married to, and he's behaving like that with his lead actress. It's unprofessional. It's playboy behaviour. So there you go. I've called him on it. I find it quite funny, actually. I didn't know about that until I was doing a bit of research for this video earlier on today. So there you go. However, it sounds like he cares about Ghost in the Shell, or cared about it. He put a lot of effort into this. His screenwriters, there's a 3rd screenwriter whose name I didn't write down as well. I mentioned Jamie Moss and Erin Kruger. Didn't mention the 3rd one. I think his surname's Wheeler, to give him credit as well. William Wheeler, I think his name is. I think. and I haven't written it down. I don't think I've written it down. I've got notes here. So he cared about Ghost in the Shell. Look, a lot of care has been put into this, and it is as accurate a live action portrayal of the two animes as it could be. Now, I've not read the manga, the Japanese comic books. I have watched the animes though, because the Ghost in the Shell, the 1995 Ghost in the Shell, is my favourite anime of all time, and I really like the sequel as well, Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence. That's really good, but Ghost in the Shell and Ghost in the Shell is my favourite anime of all time, and I like some anime a lot. And this does a good job. However, now, and it's not her fault, it stars Scarlett Johansson, and there was a big load of it. Things had become woke by 2017. Things had got ridiculous by 2017. Now, this is an anime. This is a live-action remake of an anime based on a manga. Now, anime and manga is Japanese. So the assumption is the character that Scarlett Johansson is playing, Major Motoko Kusanagi, is Japanese. Well, no. Mamoru Oshii, who wrote and directed Ghost in the Shell and Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, came out and said, no, she's an android. Right? Major Motoko Kusanagi is an android, right? She doesn't have to be any particular race. Scarlett Johansson plays her and plays her well. Now, Scarlett Johansson is quite a physical actress. This film, she would have been 32, right? So Scarlett Johansson in her peak, in her prime, basically a dime piece in my opinion, a 10 out of 10. That's a bonus. I know gentlemen watch my channel, most of whom are straight, like myself, and straight men, we like good-looking women, and Scarlett Johansson certainly, even now at 40, is a good-looking woman, certainly at 32, and she is physically right for the part. She can do the physical side. Obviously, she played Black Widow in the MCU for years. She could do the physical side. Look, she's not mixed martial arts level, obviously. She's not Gina Carano. She is good, though. She looks the part physically. She can do some of it, and she's got a little bit of muscle to her in this. It looks good. I like it. It looks good. She's pretty solid looking, right? She looks the part. And she was a good choice for the part. She plays the part well. However, because she's a woke Hollywood person, she has on multiple occasions apologised for it. She didn't do anything wrong. There's a big backlash because Scarlett Johansson obviously isn't Japanese, and idiots assumed that Major Motoko Kusanagi is Japanese. No, Major Motoko Kusanagi is an android. And because Scarlett Johansson is woke and she cares about her image, obviously cares about it too much because she's apologising to idiots. These are idiots online, and the interesting thing is, as I said, Mamoru Oshii, who is Japanese, who wrote and directed both animes, Ghost in the Shell and Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, said he also visited the set while this was being filmed and said that Scarlett Johansson exceeded his expectations, right? That she was great, and she was great in the part. So much for wanting female-led action movies, eh? You hypocrites, you woke twats online, fools, clowns, payasos, pinche pendejos. Yeah, I mean, Mamoru Oshii said he never thought that Major Motoko Kusanagi had to be Japanese. And Japanese people said it too. Japanese people who are aware of the manga and the anime, and a lot of them will be because their art forms are extremely popular in their home country. So the Japanese themselves didn't care. Woke Western twats cared. Pathetic people online that were never going to go and watch the film anyway, and have almost definitely, in fact I'll say definitely, never watched any of the Ghost in the Shell animes, read the manga, just twats online. Idiots, basically. Trolls, and worse. So the film was scuppered. It was completely and utterly scuppered. It flopped because of it, because people are twats, and 2017 was peak woke. 2016 is when woke really, to me, it was 2016 when it really started getting ridiculous, when it really came to the forefront. 2017, it was picking up steam. I mean, we're still in woke. You know, things are still woke. That was when it was really at its peak, and there was no backlash to it really at that point. It was just picking up steam. I mean, and it ruined any chance of this film. It ruined any chance of success that this film had. Now, the film might not have done that well. I know it would have done better than that though, and it wouldn't have looked like such an embarrassing flop, because there's nothing embarrassing about it. It's really good. Now let's quickly go through the other performers. As I say, Scarlett Johansson. Okay, so also playing the chief, the police chief, because Major Motoko Kusanagi is like a super cop, an android super cop. The chief is played by Beat Takeshi Kitano, who is a very famous Japanese actor and director. He was in his 60s when this was filmed. Oh no, I think he was in his very early 70s. I can't remember his exactly his age. I had a look at him earlier. He was born, I think, in the 40s, maybe it doesn't matter. Beat Takeshi Kitano is in his 70s now. I think he was in his 60s in this. He plays the chief. Now the chief is a character from the anime. Doesn't look like the chief from the anime. Good choice though. Beat Takeshi Kitano is a legendary Japanese director and actor. Also, you may have heard of the like the game show Takeshi's Castle. He's known for that in the West, or at least here in Britain he is. I think that might be in US of A, don't know, don't really care. However, he's very famous. You might know him from that. Other actors and actresses. What have we got? We've got Michael Pitt, who plays Jimmy Darmody in Boardwalk Empire. He's not a particular favourite of mine. He does an okay job in this. Interesting choice. We have Juliette Binoche. We have Peter Ferdinando, who I recently watched in a British film called Hyena, that I might cover on here. This is already going quite long. Michael Wincott, he plays the villain in the original The Crow, so that's a coincidence that Rupert Sanders made the remake of The Crow. He's very distinctive, Michael Wincott. He's got basically a cameo part. Good choice though, good character actor. And then we have someone called Pilo Asbeck. Now, he plays Barto. Barto is one, basically Major Motoko Kusanagi in the anime has two sort of right-hand men. One's called Barto and the other's called Togusa. And Pilo Asbeck plays Barto. Now, apparently Pilo Asbeck was in Game of Thrones. I didn't watch Game of Thrones, and I think he had quite a big part in that. He's quite distinctive. He's Scandinavian. He's a big guy with blonde hair and blue eyes. And yeah, he's in Game of Thrones, Pilo Asbeck. You might know him from that. He plays Barto in this. He's right for the part. The guy that plays Togusa, Togusa, who's her other right-hand man, is called Chin Han. Now, I did have a quick look. I think he's Malaysian. I didn't write that down. They're both good for the part. Her two right-hand men, Barto and Togusa. Yeah, Barto and Togusa, played by Pilo Asbeck and Chin Han, respectively. Like I said, Pilo Asbeck's Scandinavian. I think Chin Han's Malaysian. They're right for the parts. I'm glad her two right-hand men are in it. And the chief, played by Takeshi Kitano. Good cast. Good film. The music in the two Ghost in the Shell animes, Ghost in the Shell and Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, is great. Now they save that music for right at the beginning. There's a hint of it, and then right at the end, over the end credits. If you like the Ghost in the Shell anime, you'll know the music I'm talking about. It's for the end credits. Now this does differ from the anime. It goes off on a tangent. I don't like the end. This isn't a spoiler. Michael Pitt plays one of the villains in this. I don't like Michael Pitt as an actor, as I said. I don't like the character. That takes away from it. There are other villains as well. I've mentioned two of the performers. She also has another crew in this of random characters that have been introduced. Now, they might be from the other Ghost in the Shell animes, the other Ghost in the Shell mangas, because there are other Ghost in the Shell animes that I haven't seen. I've just seen the two Mamoru Oshii cinema releases. I don't like the other random characters that she has. They're barely in it. They're not important. So there are things that I don't like about this. So overall, it looks great. Oh, the music. Yes, let's come to the music if I can find it. I did write that down. Hang on, bear with me. Yeah. So, yeah, where did I write down the music? Okay. Right. Okay. So the music, right? Lorne Balfe. Oh yeah, Clint Mansell and Lorne Balfe. Now, Lorne Balfe has worked extensively with Hans Zimmer, and yeah, the music's good. All I needed to do was put my notes there, and I can read it perfectly. I know that for next time. Yeah, so Clint Mansell and Lorne Balfe did the music. Lorne Balfe has worked extensively with Hans Zimmer, and he's worked on loads of films. He's obviously a really good composer. Clint Mansell has worked on less, however, they do a good job. Two composers. The cinematographer I hadn't heard of before, but it looks good. It's a good looking film, and I watched this in the cinema on the day of release, and there were quite a few of us in there. I had the day off. I think it was a Thursday, and I watched it around about midday. It was the first showing. There were quite a few of us in there, relatively speaking, for an early afternoon showing on a weekday. And I liked it. The person I watched it with liked it even more. It's a good film. It's not perfect. I don't like Michael Pitt. I don't like the character he plays, the villain. There are other villains. I don't like the additional characters that make up sort of the rest of Major Motoko Kusanagi's crew. They're random. They don't really do anything. They're pointless, really. I just find them annoying. However, they're not in it much. I don't like the end. It goes off on a tangent. So I'm going to rate it 7 out of 10. I highly recommend it. I've got it on Blu-ray. It's easy to get hold of on DVD or Blu-ray. It crops up on streaming all the time, at least here in Britain. If you like science fiction, this is a good one. It's really underrated. Ghost in the Shell, 2017, was undeservedly cancelled, basically. And I rate it 7 out of 10. So, if you liked it, hit the like button, give it a thumbs up. If you like the video, hit the like button and give it a thumbs up. Share it with someone if you think they might get something from it. Subscribe, and when you do, ring the notification bell. Comment. This is Benji on Benji 84.0. Hasta pronto.